Covering this story today for us from New Delhi is the reporter Edward Hayward, and he's live on the line now. Edward, first of all, what can you tell us about what Lavrov is trying to achieve in India?
So as you just said, the Russian Foreign Secretary Sergei Lavrov has arrived in New Delhi today. He's going to meet with his counterpart tomorrow, so he's taking the day to meet other people, and it's a bit secretive on what he's doing today, but we know that tomorrow he's going to meet the Indian counterpart. So since the invasion of Ukraine, India's position on the conflict has been quite tricky because they have had a long-standing relation with Russia, but in the past 10 years they've been trying to acquaint with the US and Europe to have better relationship with the West as well. So they have been a bit in trouble on that part, and they are clearly said that they do not condemn Russia on this war, but they are not against the violence. So this meeting is really, really important for both parties. On the part of Russia, they will want to understand India's position on the war because it has been quite, as President Biden put it, shaky. There hasn't been any clear sign of what they think about that war. And on the part of India, which is the most important part, because they have been the biggest buyers in commodities from Russia since the sanctions have been imposed on the country. Because nobody in Europe and the US are buying oil and arms from Russia. So India is the only country, or one of the only countries, still buying a lot from them. And they are benefiting from good prices from Russia. So it's going to be a talk between these two countries to understand what compromise they can find. And again, it's going to be a difficult one for India because the country has been navigating a difficult situation between the US, the West, and its relationship with Russia. So it's going to be an interesting one, and we will see what Lavrov has to say and what Modi will say after the meeting.
It's worth saying, Edward, that it's not just Lavrov who's in New Delhi right now. The British Foreign Secretary, Liz Truss, is there as well. What should we make of the fact that they're both there at the same time?
So the last week and probably the week to come has been pretty busy in New Delhi. There's been Liz Truss coming, Sergei Lavrov. There's plans for the US Commerce Secretary to come as well. And since the beginning of the conflict, India's position has been met with criticism both from the US, the UK, and some countries in Europe as well. And when President Biden talked about the sanctions that they were imposing on Russia, he talked about India's position as being shaky. So it's important to understand that now India has a decision to make because obviously Liz Truss coming here is a way for Boris Johnson and the West in general to put pressure on Delhi and to put Delhi in a position of saying which side they're on because they've not been choosing in the last months. So the American government has understood the complexity of India's position, so they haven't been too difficult on Delhi. But this meeting is changing things. The Commerce Secretary, American Commerce Secretary, said yesterday that she was deeply disappointed in India's decision to make further deals with Lavrov. And Australia's Trade Minister as well said yesterday that it was important that democracies work together.
All right, Edward Hayward, we'll see what comes out of all of those meetings. But for now, thank you very much.